Good morning and welcome back to Just What We Needed, another podcast. I am in a beautiful mood. You know why? Because it is 2 weeks notice day, right? It's 2 weeks. In 2 weeks from now will be my last day working here, and I'm so ecstatic because I'll have my time back to actually put back into my life and the things that I want to achieve. I mentioned before in another podcast, which I will link above or below, wherever it shows up, wherever I put it. I talked before about how I've been with this phone company, and I've been there since maybe mid March, possibly, and it just drained me. And I say that like I've told people it's a morally draining job. As being a salesman is a morally draining job, and I don't want, not that I can't do it, I don't want to do it. It's not in me. And more importantly, like I just said, there are events I have wanted to do. Like, this year would have been a great year for questions that needs answers, right? The problem is, when I do the show, I have to go out and do pop-up shops, right? Because when I first tried to do the show in my city, I tried to do it downtown, just on the streets, but I didn't know that I needed a permit for the spot that I was doing it at. And it's something that's like, I didn't really, while that is definitely one of the best spots to do it, I wanted to do it somewhere that was more focused, and I didn't have to, go jump through a bunch of hoops. And I understand that is going to be something that I have to think of in the future when, it gets bigger and I want to host it at actual spots and events. But currently, the easiest thing for me to do is to just pay my little $50 for a spot at a pop-up shop that's either usually like outside or indoors, and just do it that way. But more often than not, those pop-up shops are like Saturday, Sunday, maybe even a Friday. As you could probably guess, I'm never off on those days, and I'm stuck in this store till like 7 o'clock when it's all said and done. Now, here's the thing, right? Going back to another reason why I'm leaving, actually the primary reason that I'm leaving, like I said, I'm just not the salesman they want me to be. I paused this podcast a couple minutes ago. I had to pause me talking because a customer just came in talking about how he wanted to know what is he supposed to do with this internet equipment, because he went to the store at some point to talk about something, and the salesman there sent him the internet, and the customer asked him not to do that shit. So that was it couldn't have come at a more perfect moment. This is exactly what I'm talking about, why I cannot work here. I don't have the conscience to be like, oh, well, we'll just ship it out to you anyway. Like, if you're saying no, if you fucking said no, I'm not the person to be like, oh, well, see how you like it anyway. I'm not going to do that. Because now that customer who just came in has to drive like over 10 miles to the nearest UPS store, and he shouldn't have had to do this today. We done brought this man out in the cold to return some shit that he never asked for, and we don't even take it in store. Like, I can't. It's just another big reason why I had to leave. But on the bright side of things, the new job is going to be a lot better. I'm hoping. Well, morally, it's great. I work with dogs. It's dog boarding. I'm very excited. It's going to be in a new city. I'm not making the move just yet. They're about 45 minutes away. And like I said at the start, it gives me my time back. My schedules are 12-hour shifts with them on days that, I wouldn't really care about. If I get off work at 7 o'clock on a Friday night, I would probably still want to go out and do something. Not like with this job where it's like, okay, I'm off at 7, get home at 8. and then, depending on how long it takes for me to close, get home at 8, and then have to be right back in the bed to work it. Like, I don't care about all of that. With this job, I get my time back, and, I get to work with dogs. It's great. But aside from that, it's okay. So it's one thing that I want to get into, and I did recently start therapy. For those who are just tuning in or don't know, recently had a breakup. It was really bad for my mental because it's the first time, like, I wasn't in control of it. Like, I wasn't the one to say, hey, this isn't gonna work. So I didn't really know how to take it. And then the reason for the breakup is just ugh. But for the longest, I just could not stop thinking of it. So I got into therapy to see if I could get any help in understanding the situation more, seeing what's going on. And this isn't like a review, because I do therapy with BetterHelp, because of course with this work schedule that's always changing, because the manager makes the schedule weekly and sometimes he does it delayed, so I can plan for one day and then just like schedule's up. And then now I have to move everything. It sucks ass. But yeah, so I tried therapy through BetterHelp, and I'm very upset. I have to email them because I just paid for my first session, and then I got on Instagram. They're just like, hey, we don't always do this, but we're giving away a free month of therapy. No, motherfucker, run me my money back, and I'm gonna need that month because I just paid for one. But not to review, it's not necessarily reviewing BetterHelp, but my session. Let's talk about the session first. I won't say the session was eye-opening, because it was just the very first time that me and this therapist met, spoke, introduced her to the issues that I'm having. And it wasn't eye-opening, but it was interesting. Like, of course, I've talked to family. Of course, I've talked to friends about the situation, and even on Reddit, but I wanted a third-party perspective. And one thing is that it boiled down to me and this person just did not fully communicate our problem, or fully communicated what would have prevented the problem in the first place, right? So I'm cool with that. I'm fine with that. Will that conversation ever happen? Shit, who knows? Ball's in her court. But I will say that now this could just be, I won't blame it on BetterHelp, but it could just be like my therapist thing, is that BetterHelp promotes themselves as like, 24-hour and this and that, and reach out to your therapist. But, obviously schedule full-on appointments. But if you need like a quick thing, reach out to them through the app, on the website, whatever, and they'll get back to you. I also could just be impatient, especially because this is all new to me. But it's also because I already paid the $65, so technically I'm getting less than what I paid for. And I'll be mentioning that in the fucking email. But like my therapist doesn't really reach out as much as I thought that they would. Like, even the first time, I think I signed up, it was a couple days later, and they was just like, here's a therapist that we think you'll like. It matches all the problems you mentioned that you're going through. So, what was it? It stayed in a list. All the problems that I mentioned were on a list, and I didn't know if that list was still being sent to the therapist for them to look at, and if I'd have to, reiterate everything. So I just asked them, hey, is that what it's going to be? Do I need to send the list? Because I don't see it in the message anymore. I said, do I need to send the list again? Or do you have everything? And there was no actual mention from the therapist for like 2 days. And then on the second day, she was just like, good morning, can't wait to meet you on this date. But there was no like actual response to what I said. So I was just like, all right, whatever. So I guess, I'm just going to have to reiterate everything, which is exactly what I did. So then afterward, after the session, she was just like, I'll send you, my first session was 2 days ago. and she said, I'll send you worksheets, which, I'm actually kind of excited for. I'm very big on self-reflection. So if you have something for me that's going to be like, well, take a look into this lens or explain how you feel with this, and the results will tell you blah blah blah, I'm cool with it. So I'm still waiting on it. And I mentioned that the other day. I was like, hey, haven't gotten the sheets yet, no response yet. And she also was telling me that right after our session on a Monday, right, she was just like, okay, is this time good for next week? Around like 1:45 or whatever time I did. It's like maybe 2:45. I was just like, yeah, that should be good, because I can just close the store up and fuck these customers. My mental health comes first. Fuck them. She was like, okay, so she wrote it down, but I didn't know do I need to, like, obviously I would need to schedule it, right? But I didn't know, because she sent me something right afterwards. And she told me, she has a client, so she has to, hop off and go do that. She sent me the times and dates for next Monday, and the time that she mentioned verbally wasn't available for her thing. So I'm just like, hey, I don't see the times, or I don't know if you can squeeze me in for anything, but there was no update. And then the next day I'm looking to see, if anything is available, and all of her time slots for next week are not available except for like 10 a.m. And I have to be here at 10 a.m. So it's like I'm saying, it could just be the therapist, but it's like I don't have the access to the therapist as like the commercials and the advertisements and the promotions would imply. So I definitely have to see about getting my free month, because like I technically paid, I don't know what that stutter was. I technically paid my first, payment on a Friday, and I didn't get the session until like that Monday. So it almost feels like I paid for the Kickstarter to get me in the door, and then now that I'm paying, it's just I don't know. I will continue to do therapy for a while, because obviously nothing's gonna change overnight, but I'm gonna try switching therapists first, and then I'll try some actual scheduled, not online, face-to-face, sitting on a couch type therapy. Now that my amazing mother put me on to going through my insurance, because I've never done this. I've never had to go through my, because I didn't have my own insurance. I was always on my dad's growing up until I turned 26. So now I'm having to do all this for myself for the first time. My current job, and yeah, I'm definitely got to use it before I start the new job. So I got to see what I'm gonna do. But yeah, I just wanted to share, my experience with the therapy, and me moving on to this new job is definitely going to help. Now that I'll have so much more time to actually clear my mind and progress in life. My therapist, she also said, what everyone else said, obviously, focus on yourself and, focus on you. I mean, it's obviously it's hard, but I know that it'll get better. It was bad because it was so recent, and I just sitting here in this office by myself, and it gets really slow, and during that downtime is when I would go back and think about it. But with this new job, I'm always going to be active, and when I'm out of the job, I have my time back to just focus and do what I need to do to get ahead in the entertainment industry. That's what I'm looking at. I don't want to be an influencer, because influencers don't really do shit. Like, the only time I ever even heard of an influencer doing anything good was whenever people mentioned Mr. Beast. Oh, Mr. Beast started these houses, and he gave water in Africa and did all this. Like, he's the only one who you could actually hear them doing something positive, Every other influencer is just like, Yeah, he started a snack foundation. Not even a foundation. It's like, what is this? Like, yeah, they started making drinks, and it turns out the drinks are like very harmful for people. Oh yeah, he's making snacks, knockoff Lunchables, which is still Mr. Beast. I don't know when that change started, but yeah, Mr. Beast's name is really going downhill recently. I'm not gonna lie. The only times I ever saw him on Twitter were when people were talking about how he gave all these people water and he donated like $500,000 to XYZ, and every other influencer is just like, yeah, I make my little TikTok jokes. Yeah, I got these outfits and these look good, and today's outfit is sponsored by XYZ and you should go buy this. But that's it. Like, I don't want to be known as an influencer. I don't know how I got here, but I don't want to be known as an influencer because influencers don't do shit. And I'll say that the ones who really do get like all the credit or highlighted in the news or something, it's never something positive. I'll say that. Like the main ones, it could be a vocal minority that actually do go out and help and use their platform to, lift others up and do that. Because I know some, like my friend Crystal, I would consider her an influencer, but she's had her thing. I'll probably link some of her stuff. Talking about, being a cancer survivor, things of that nature, selling her book. I would, she's the author, not even an okay, kind of both. But she actually does something as an influencer, she actually gets out and does stuff. So other influencers, like the big names, KSI, and like I don't know what the fuck Speed does. Every time I see him, he's just out somewhere and just doing something crazy. Kai Cenat, I don't understand what he does either. Like he streams from home. He has people over, and I don't know. Like influencers, I don't like I don't want to have the title of an influencer. It just feels like there isn't much there to be proud of. It's like, what do you do? It's one of those things where, yes, you can say, yeah, I'm making money from just streaming, bro. Like, I just talk to people all day and nah, nah, nah. Which is cool, which is dope, which is like, that it's not the new age American dream, but it is definitely, when I was younger, everyone was just like, oh, I'm gonna be a rapper, because they made it look so easy, because a lot of the rappers we grew up fucking sucked. That's just the facts of the matter. That's just the facts of the matter. A lot of people at the time wanted to be rappers because rappers made it look easy because they fucking sucked. I can pinpoint it, but that's for another podcast. But I don't want to be here all day talking about XYZ. But I just wanted to say, yes, I am in therapy now. Trying to find the best route about it. Because paying $65 a week for what I've been told was access to my therapist, and I can't get that access, is not going to fly with me. So I need to figure out how I'm going to move with this. I'm so glad to be out of this store. I'll probably do some stand-up one night and just talk about my experience with it. But I'm so glad to be out of sales. Like, I have my time back. I can push forward. I can get past this whole breakup and continue on with my life and just be better, So, appreciate you guys for listening. This was a long one. I try to keep these under 10, 15 minutes, but sometimes, hey, that's what podcasts is for. That's what podcasts are for. I just like to talk into the void, and whoever is cool with it is cool with it. Some people be like, you just love to hear yourself talk, huh? I'm like, yeah, I do. I'm interesting. But I appreciate you guys. Make sure to like, subscribe, and all that.